have I gone and done? So before we get on to the Audi TT, let me tell you how it came about that I ended up buying this car. So what happened was, me and the wife had just sat down, having a chat and talking away. And she's always been very, very supportive with anything I do with my car and what I do for YouTube. And I was talking to her about the Alfa Romeo that I did last year. So if you've not seen that, last year I bought the UK's cheapest Alfa Romeo Giulietto. The playlist in the description below. And I said I really enjoyed the process of fixing and repairing this car. And before I knew it, my wife was on her phone looking for kind of salvage cars or damaged cars and a project for me to kind of go and buy and fix up. And then she found a website where they were auctioning off cars from a scrapyard. That's right, from a scrapyard. And this was just one of the cars that was on that website. Now at the time, they actually had 2 Audi TTs on. They had this black one and they also had a white one, which I do believe, although I'm not that clued up with the Audi TT world, I do believe it was a TTS. But at the time, I'd only just found the website and the auction was ending quite quick. I had to get myself registered, I had to prove proof of who I am, like a copy of my driving licence, before my kind of account would get authorised for me to bid and buy a car. So I missed out on the white TT, but the black one still had 2 or 3 days left on its auction. So I started to have a look at how much these cars were selling for on Auto Trader and eBay to see what kind of money I could invest in the car to fix it, to sell it and try and make a profit. And as you can see, I bought the car clearly because it's sat behind me and it's sat on my drive. Now genuinely I am quite excited about this project TT and getting this on the road, and hopefully we can, you know, invest the money from this car into the next one, and hopefully we do make a little bit of money as well. But I am nervous at the same time for a number of reasons. I have financially committed to this car. I've took money out of my savings account and I've committed to this car financially myself. Along with that, I am not a mechanic by any means. I'm kind of self-taught, and all the stuff you see me do on this YouTube channel, I've just taught myself to do. My dad's helped me and taught me, and so's my brother along the way, but equally they're self-taught as well. And the other reason that I'm sceptical is because I know nothing about Audis, nothing. I've never owned an Audi before. I've only ever owned one German car in my time, which was a Volkswagen Bora way back in the day, and this is the first Audi I've ever bought and worked on. I've never worked on an Audi. I don't know much about them or anything about them. But even so, I still thought the car was worth the risk of what I've paid. And we'll get to what I paid for it in a future video. I'm not going to reveal that in this one. Today, we're going to have a look at the car and talk about the car and talk about the escapade that I had of it yesterday when I got home from work. So, let's have a look around this Audi TT. So here it is then. This is a 2007 Mark II Audi TT. I believe the chassis number is the 8J. Correct me if I'm wrong, Audi people, like I said, I don't know, but I believe this is the 8J. When I've had a look over the car last night, I believe this car at some point in its life has been, I think it's been loved and very well looked after. Maybe not recently in its life before I bought it, but before I bought this car, I believe it was loved. And I believe that the person that spec'd the car from new spent a fair bit of money on optional extras. And the reason that I say that, because the German brands like Audi and BMW are renowned for making everything an optional extra. There's the standard joke that if you want indicators on your German car, you have to pay extra for it. And I believe the first optional extra on these cars are actually these wheels. These are not the wheels that you most commonly see on the Audi. You normally see the Audi S-Line wheels on this shaped TT and this era of Audi. I'll find the ones I mean and I'll put them on screen now. But when I've done a little bit of research, what I'm finding is that these wheels are actually made by the company Speedline, and they're a lightweight wheel, and they were an optional extra from new when buying this Audi TT. So that's our first option. The next option we've got then, we'll have to step inside the car. So the next option then that I believe this car's got is these red leather seats. I wouldn't imagine that these were standard specification. I think they actually came with half leather and Alcantara seat from factory, which generally are a really nice seat. These might not be to everybody's taste. I'm not sure at this present moment in time if they're even to my taste, but they were an optional extra nonetheless. And although these seats are red leather, they are not the electric ones, but they do have, or they are heated, should I say. They are both heated leather seat. The next option I believe this car have is this, and clearly this is not a manual, this is the 6-speed automatic. I'm unsure at this time whether it's a DSG or the S-Tronic with the area. I've done some research. I'm not 100% sure whether it's the S-Tronic or it's a DSG. Please let me know in the comments below what it's likely this gearbox is on the car. And if we go a little bit further down here, we've also got Audi's magnetic ride. Now, from what I've done research, this magnetic ride adjustment is like the first era of it for Audi. It's kind of the first generation car to put it in. It's not the most reliable system. I don't know if it works at this point. If it doesn't, we'll have to do some research, decide what we're going to do, whether we're going to upgrade the car, whether we're going to fix it if we can, or we're going to do like a mag ride delete and just put standard shocks and springs on it. But at the time of this car being new, that mag ride would have been an option, and I would imagine it would have been an expensive one at that. The next thing that would have been an option, extra, oh look, it's looking very sorry for itself at this present moment in time, is this sat-nav screen. As you can see, it will have been a DVD, or it is a DVD, but obviously this is going to have to get replaced. It's absolutely ruined. I probably won't replace it with a factory Audi one if I'm honest. I'll probably try and modernise the car. I'll probably replace it with some sort of Apple CarPlay unit to make the car a little bit more sellable. So along with the automatic gearbox, we also have paddle shift, but just behind the paddle shift we have a third stalk, and this third stalk then is clearly for cruise control. Again, I don't know if it works, but that would have been an optional extra from factory. As you can see then, we've got set, speed up, slow down, we've got cancel, and we've also got resume. Now, I'm a big fan of cruise control, and I'm a big fan of the resume feature that cruise control comes with. Now, I'm imagining that I'm cruising down the motorway, I've tapped the brake pedal, I've had to slow down, and to get back up to speed, I click the resume button. Now, you tell me, Audi people, with this being an automatic, would this car kind of gear down and change itself back up again as I'm going along? Because obviously in a manual car, if I press the clutch pedal, it disengages the cruise control. But with an auto, would it change gear for me to catch back up? Because in a manual, I'll have to leave it in 6, click cruise, and it'll pick up nice and slowly. But this, would it gear down to pick me back up? I don't know. How do people let me know? I'll definitely be trying it out when we get this car on the road. Now, although these seats are generally quite comfortable, and I quite like the interior of this Audi, I am going to jump out, and that's mainly because in here it stinks. I think it's a mixture of a couple of things. One of the things, it's been stored in a scrapyard, as I've said. The second thing, it's got these awful little trees, vanilla aroma, 3 of them, air fresheners, and the other smell that I can only describe as, let's say it's very herbal, if you catch my drift, is also in this car. So clearly, a job on the list is to get this interior clean. So that is a brief overview of the Audi TT. Now, I think my money's safe in this car. I think I've done it okay. I don't think it was an absolute bargain of the century like the Alfa was, but I do believe that I got this car for a good price, and I think I've got some room to get it on the road, because it does need some work, and I do believe once it's on the road, when I come to sell it on, I will make a little bit of profit. But there's a big one that we're going to do next. And that next thing is, we need to get this car running. Now, the advertisement for this car said that the car started and drove. But when I got the guy to recover the car, he said it didn't start. So he didn't, and he was only delivering the car. So I need to know what this engine's like. I can't drive the car because 1, I'm not insured, 2, it's not taxed, and 3, it doesn't have an MOT. But it did have a flat battery, or what I believe was a flat battery, last night when I got home from work. Now, I wish I'd filmed this because it was a bit of a calamity, but the battery on these TTs, if you know, are located in the boot, and the boot, if you know these Audi TTs, is electronically operated. You know, I don't have a jumper pack. There was no power in the car, so I could not open the boot. There is an emergency release, which we're going to do now. I'm going to go through that process like I do now. So I had to climb through the car, pop the emergency release, take the battery off, and put it on my battery charger. Now, the battery for the charger for the car is here. This is my Clark Intelligent battery, and see, there you go. It is telling me that the battery is fully charged. So I'm going to grab the GoPro. We're going to climb through the car, and we're going to get the boot open, get the battery on, and we're going to see if this scrapyard found bought Audi TT starts. Right, I've got the GoPro. I'm going to climb through the car and get this boot popped, and I'll film the process on the GoPro. Now, believe it or not, you still actually need the key for the car to be able to access this emergency port in the boot. So let's get to it. Things first, let's open the door and pull the seat forward. Give you a gap. Latch either side. Audi bag yet. Spend a couple of grand a year on Audi bags these days, don't we? Right, so let's get the light. You're going to see this little cap on the boot lid. So what you need to do is get your key. If you pop it in the gap, it allows you to just pop out. You could probably use a screwdriver for that and not use a key, to be completely honest. And then just in here, what we need to find in here now is like a black cable. So I'm going to have a fish around with my hands. So I've actually been fishing around, and I believe the cable, when I've googled it again, is attached to this. So if I pull this, the boot should open. Yeah, it's free, hold on. And as you can see, I'm lay straight across the back and into the boot of this car. Let's get this battery back on. Right, so the battery on these cars are located just under it. Get this boot floor out of the way. The battery sits here. Yeah, like I said, this car's filthy. It's got that as well. Oh, we're earning money back here. £1.70. That can come off the cost of the car. Battery's gonna go that way. And the negative. Oh, we've got some interior lights. And there's some clicking going on, that's a good sign. Let's get the spanner. So they're on. Like I said, I'm not going to clamp it down. I just want to get the car started. So let's just move this stuff back so I can move the seat. Before we try and start the car though, let's make sure it's got some oil in it. It could do with a drop of oil. I've got some of this in the garage. It's probably not the most perfect oil for this car, but any oil just to make sure it's got some in it while we start it is better than none. There's not actually much left in this either. But you and I both want to know, will this start and what will it sound like? So I'll put the camera at the back of the car to film the start up, and I'll use a GoPro in. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, that looks good. Oh, radio's on. Switch that off. She runs! She runs, albeit a bit lumpy, but it has got no fuel. So we have got a few warning lights, traction control and such. Right, so let's finish up this video then. So, I think we've been quite successful. I'll give you a quick overview of the car, what I think of it. I'm really happy with my purchase. We know it runs. I've just put some fuel in it as well. We know it runs. Now, the backstory of this car then, or what I believe the backstory of this car to be. Like I said, I bought this car from a scrapyard. It said that it was a police repossession. My favourite with this car then, my favourite with this car is previous owner. I think the MOT ran out in September, the tax ran out in October. I believe they ran out and they weren't renewed, and possibly potentially if it's not got MOT, it's not got tax, possibly it might not have even been insured either. So the previous owner was running around with these three things all expired and not renewed. I think they then got pulled over off the police, and the police took the car off them at the roadside. Well, my understanding is that you then get around 4 to 6 weeks, I think it is, to reclaim your car. If you don't do that, the police then sell the car on. People like me, hello, step in and buy the car. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This is going to be a little bit of a project. I believe that this car is the perfect start to kind of follow on from the Alpha for a number of reasons. There is 2 YouTubers out there who have been very, very successful that kind of started with a Mark II Audi TT and an Audi TT of this generation. On the next video, what we'll go through is everything that's wrong with this Audi TT, and we'll also give it a nice wash down so we can truly assess what the bodywork's like as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, like, comment and subscribe. Comment down below any common faults, anything you think I need to look for while I'm making my way around this Audi TT. Yeah, thanks very much for watching. What's happening, YouTube? Welcome back to a brand new video. Now, for those that don't know, this is the Mark II Audi TT I bought abandoned from a scrapyard. If you don't know about this car and how it's becoming to my possession, then make sure you go and check out the previous video, which will be linked at the end of this one. And also while you're there, why don't you hit that subscribe button as well? And in that previous video, we kind of talk about this car and how it became in my possession, and we have a quick overview of the car and we get the car running. But today's video, we're going to be talking about everything that is wrong with this Mark II Audi TT. And the first problem we're going to talk about, we have to start with the key. Now, as you can see, we have got a couple of functions on the key. We've got lock, open the boot, and we've got unlock. But when I press the buttons, the boot won't open. It's just kind of unresponsive to the key in general, but I don't think it's a big issue, and let me show you why. The reason I don't say it's a big issue, because if you look in this corner here of the key, when I press the buttons, there's no light illuminating. And further to that, if I flip the key out and put it in the ignition, in the door barrel, sorry, the car unlocks. And it locks, which suggests to me that the battery in this key is probably dead. So that should... That's the problem I'm having though. The alarm likes to go off. And to turn the alarm off, what I have to do is stick the key in the ignition, and that syncs with the alarm and the immobiliser. But as I was saying, that shouldn't be a bad fix, because I believe it's just the battery in the key that's dead, because the central locking in the car is fully functional on both doors. But the problem that I'm having is the alarm's going off. When I unlock it and get in the car, the alarm will go off, and if I lock it and if I unlock it and then lock it without putting the key in the ignition, the alarm goes off, as you just saw. So that's problem number one. Problem number two then, although the wheels look great, all four tyres need replacing. I need to replace all four tyres on this car. Again, not a big issue, but it's going to be an expensive fix. The next problem we've got then is, well, if you watch my previous video, you'll know that I do actually quite like the interior of this car, and the seats are quite comfy. Not sure if the red leather's for me, like I said in the previous video, but there's a very distinctive herbal smell, which we definitely need to take care of. And while we're in the interior, we might as well talk about a few more problems. Another problem is with the steering wheel. Although this is more of a cosmetic kind of problem, you can see these buttons are just very badly worn, and they look a bit, well, they look a bit nasty. The paddles do click both sides, so I believe they still work. Obviously we'll check that when we get on the road. So that is another problem. I want to get some better conditioned buttons, or maybe some reconditioned ones. I might even do like a wheel finesse upgrade on the steering wheel to bring it up to speed. But this is kind of the first era of Audis where this flat bottom steering wheel was introduced, and it does look quite good, to be honest. The next problem then is here. This is where the bonnet latch should be. Common fault on these Audi TTs is that the bonnet latch snapped, and you guessed it, the one on this car has snapped. And what I've done is I've had to use a set of pliers on the cable and pull it to pop the bonnet up. Did that day one to get in the car, and I've just left the bonnet slightly popped up so I don't keep after putting unnecessary strain on that cable. That's something else that we do need to fix. We need to get a bonnet latch for the car. Big thing that lets this interior down then, well, look at this. This is the Audi sat-nav unit. Now I don't believe this is a factory screensaver. If you look at this, it's an absolute mess. It does try and come in and out. It does work still, it picks up radio. However, as you can see, it's clearly been vandalised. My favourite of this car is, if you go and watch the previous video, it was taken at the roadside by the police, and I believe the previous owner, who probably wasn't very happy his Audi TT was being took off him, has decided to vandalise the head unit. So that's something else we need to fix. Next thing on the list then is base here. Now it's not there's nothing wrong in this section of the car, but it is to do with the gearbox. What I'm going to be doing is giving this DSG gearbox a full service. With me buying this car from a scrapyard, I haven't got much or any service history with the car, and these DSG gearboxes do have an oil and filter interval just like an engine does. So I don't know when it was last done, and I'm not going to do any harm by giving it a fresh set of oil and a fresh filter as well. So that is also on the to-do list. Next fault that needs rectifying is clearly here. The wing mirror has snapped. Now I thought, just like the stereo, I thought the previous owner might have been a bit upset at the roadside that the police were taking this car, and they decided to snap the wing mirror off at the roadside. However, accusing the last owner of a lot of things, but doing some research, actually the metal wears away and they kind of just snap off over time and with age, or that's what I believe. If I'm wrong and you think the last owner's done this as well at the roadside, then please comment down below and let me know. Luckily enough, I have managed to find a wing mirror in colour, and it's the same part number. So boom, that job is already kind of underway. The parts in the car, sorry, the parts in the garage, and we'll be getting that sorted. So as I said then, the bonnet latch on this car is broken, so that is a job that we need to do. But the next thing we need to do, or one of the things that we need to do that's on the list, is give this car a full service. Like I said, I've got no service history with this car because I bought it from a scrapyard. I'm going to be giving the car full service, filters, oil, the lot. It will be happening with this engine. So as you can see then, there is quite an extensive list of jobs to do, which we're making a start on. We are going to make a start today on 2 jobs, and we're going to start tomorrow as well doing another job. But this last one, I need your help to fix this last one. Let me show you. Now the Audi TT, quite infamously, the Mark 1 came with no spoiler at all, and Audi recalled him and put a spoiler on the Mark 1. Now if you've got a Mark 1 TT without a spoiler, it's pre-recall. Apparently they're quite unstable at motorway speeds and at high speeds, so be careful in it. But that's a bit of a unicorn of a car. On the Mark 2, however, they kept that profile of the sloped and curved rear end of the TT, and they installed this active aero spoiler. Now as you can see, my spoiler on this TT is deployed up, but the car's not running. Let me show you what's going on. So we come to the inside of the car with the car running. You are now on the GoPro. That's another fault that's just popped up. You are now on the GoPro. That's another one. That's 2 more. You are now on the GoPro, and I've got the camera at the back of the car. So the car's fired up. It's fine. Now if you look at this, if we look here in the centre console, we've got the button for the mag ride. We've got ESP off and on. We've got the hazard lights, the indicators, and then we've got our spoiler manual override. Now as you can see, the little LED is lit up to say that the button's been depressed and the spoiler is now deployed. If I look at the sports suspension, the mag ride, the spoiler's not there, but if I press it, it lights up to tell me I've switched it on. Now what I think's going on with this car is that I think someone's plugged like a Carlet or an OBD11 reader into the car, and they've done some custom coding and they put the spoiler in constantly deployed mode. And the reason I think that, and I think that the mechanism for the spoiler is fine, is because when I press the button, it goes down, albeit it doesn't sit flush when it's fully down. And then the strangest thing happens. If I turn the ignition off, you might hear the spoiler. It redeploys. So the functionality of the spoiler is still there. It goes down, although it doesn't sit flush, and it comes back up when I turn the ignition on, but that LED light inside the car constantly stays on. And I feel like that the car's been coded for that to happen. Now I've ran the codes on this car with a code reader and it doesn't display any faults whatsoever. So I think this has been coded in. So anybody with OBD11 out there and you want to help me out, let me know. OBD11, if you're watching this, want to help me out, let me know. Let's go on to the next fault. The next fault then, we have to come back to the inside of the car. I'll just switch the ignition on, fire the car up. As you can see, the display is actually all right, but as it kind of warms itself up, you'll see in a second, we get passenger airbag on, which is obviously normal, that's what we want. But we're getting this right parking light, and we're getting the little problem, the little light bulb with the crossfit say the light's not working. Now, a common flaw with these, a common fault with these TTs from the research I've done, I'm not an Audi guy, is that the earth on the rear lights fails. So that's something we need to take a look at. We need to take a look at that, and we need to see if we need to rewire the earth on the light. There's actually quite a lot of videos out there which is nice to know, teaching us and showing us how we need to rewire this earth on these rear lights. So that is another fault on this car. But one of the last faults on the interior of the car, like I said, it stinks. It's got these awful little tree Villaroma in. It's got cans of petrol in the back. And the rear of this car is just a mess. We've got petrol cans, which we actually used in the last video to put fuel in. The batteries here, all the under trays out. It's just a mess. So clearly a job to do is get the inside of this car absolutely spotless, ready for its new owner. But the last fault's a big one. And the last fault lies here, under this bonnet. And it's not what you're thinking it is. It's actually nothing to do with Audi, the coil packs, the PCV valve. This car's got rats, that's right. Rats have been living under the bonnet of this car. You can see here, there's bits across, and then if you look down here, there's just absolute rat droppings and feces and all kinds of stuff everywhere, all over the engine bay. And well, it smells absolutely disgusting. Now obviously for health reasons, I don't want to be working on this engine when it's covered in rat feces and whatever else. So the job that we're going to do right now is get this engine bay cleaned up. I've got some engine bay degreaser and cleaner, and we're going to give this engine bay a nice good clean and a scrub. And while we're here, I'm also going to give the exterior of the car a quick once over, just so we can kind of see what the bodywork's like on this car. The under tray off the car off camera, my suspicions are correct. If we look at all this, it's all rat droppings and feces. The reason that I took the under tray off is so that when I'm washing this engine bay down, all the dirt and the grime and the feces doesn't just collect in the under tray. Plus, I need it off to do tomorrow's job, which is when we're going to service the car anyway. So this was a job well done. I put this to one side, this will get cleaned off as well. So I'm probably going to put the car on bricks, like under the tyres, to give it a bit of purchase in the air. And we'll go from there. It's just actually starting to spit, but we're only giving it a quick once over anyway. So a bit of faffing, and let me show you why. So as you can see here, there is a cap missing on the back of this headlight. The reason I noticed that is because obviously I want to make checking where all the electrical connectors are, because I'm going to be cleaning the engine bay and I don't want to make it a mess. I have got the one on this side here, so I took the part number off it and I found one on eBay, so that's another thing wrong that I've had to order. What I'm going to be using then to detail the engine bay or clean this engine bay is this. It's Auto Glim Engine and Machine Cleaner. This isn't actually my first choice, my first weapon of choice for tackling engine bay. My first choice for tackling engine bays is the Auto Finesse Eradicate. I reviewed it many years ago on the channel. At the time it's called Enigma. I just couldn't get any today. Alphas have stopped stocking it. Euro Car Parts can't get it till Tuesday, and I want to get this job done today and get it like so we can make a start on Project TT. So I've gone with this. It's a little bit cheaper. I don't know if it's any good. It says rapidly cleans engines, components and tools and machinery. Let's get rid of these bird droppings. Like I said, honestly, although the Auto Glim Engine Cleaner isn't my first choice, I like the Auto Finesse Eradicate. It's done a brilliant job, look at that. I've also done the under tray as well, so I've sprayed that on and cleaned that off, and all the rat droppings have gone, and all the engine oil and greases that are probably years of build up have all gone. So if you look here, like even this looks a million times better. It all looks cleaner. Yeah, it generally looks a million times better. I am going to give it another pass. Try to avoid all the electrical bits and pieces, although it is going to get here or there, but it does look a million times better. While we're here, we've got the hose pipe out, we've got everything going. We might as well give this car the once over just to kind of give it some love. So let's get to the exterior of this car. So next we're going to move on to the wheels. I've given the car a rinse. The engine's running just to dry the engine bay a little bit. And I'm going to use Auto Finesse's Reactivate wheel cleaner. Let's go. Never used this one before, so I'm interested to see the result. Not after perfection on this clean, but I think you'll agree that looks a million times better. Let's get the other three done. You can see we're well underway. We have just snow foamed the car. We're getting there. I'm not after perfection on this wash. I'm just trying to get the kind of the dirt and the grime off it, so I know what I'm working with underneath this dirt, grime and rat feces. But I've got the engine running to try and dry the engine bay out a little bit, just because tomorrow I'm going to be working on the engine and we're going to be giving this car a full service. I'll grab a quick drink now, and we're going to let the snow foam sit and dwell, and then we'll blast the snow foam off and give it a contact. Fully washed and cleaned, and it does look alright. It's come up alright. It's not perfect because I've not gone to town. This was just a kind of a quick once over, if you will. Car looks a million times better than it did, but I'll give you a quick look of how the car's turned out. The engine bay was our main target for today, and I think you'll agree it looks a million times better than it did when we started. The wheels also have come up really well. Like I said, I've not gone to town. The car is still wet, but I think you'll agree that it is beginning to look like quite a decent TT, which is what I saw under the dirt, the grime and the rat feces. Right, so I'm going to end this one here. You join me in front of the TT. So productive really this. We'll clean that engine bay up, the under trade's off ready for its service tomorrow. It smells a lot better just under the engine bay. So we're well underway with Project TT now, making a start. So tomorrow we'll be giving the engine a full service. The gearbox service kit hasn't arrived yet, so I probably won't film that tomorrow. Well, I can't film that tomorrow because it's not here. So let me know what you think of this video. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're enjoying Project TT. Thank you very much for the reception on the reveal video. It's been phenomenal. Thank you for everyone that hit subscribe, although I have noticed now over 90% of you people watching my videos have not pressed that button. Please, please, please hit that button. I'm really enjoying YouTube at the moment and making videos. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks very much for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. What's happening, YouTube? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are back with the Mark II Audi TT, and if you didn't know, this is the Mark II Audi TT that I bought from a scrapyard. If you want to go and check out the previous videos, we do a review video and everything that's wrong, there is a link in the description below to the play link, so make sure you check that out. And while you're there, why don't you consider pressing that subscribe button. In today's video, we're going to be doing some maintenance, and we're going to be giving this engine a full service. And for that service, we have got a new oil filter, a new air filter, some new oil, a pollen filter, and 4 spark plugs. Now, I've serviced some cars in my time, albeit none of them have actually ever been an Audi, so this is a first for me. I'm hoping it won't be too difficult, and I've actually never changed spark plugs on a car before either, so hopefully that won't be too difficult either. But first thing we need to is start the car up and get the engine nice and warm and get the oil nice and warm so it comes out a little bit easier. So let's do that. Engine is running. Now what I noticed the other day while I was messing with the car is if I can go in here and I can go to check and I can go to engine oil and it tells us the temperature of the oil. So I'm going to leave it on that mode and let the engine get fully up to temperature and let the oil get warm before we start this service. So let's leave the car warming up. Now for those that have watched the previous video, you'll know that the engine bay was actually covered in rat feces. Rats have clearly been living under the bonnet of this car while it was in the scrapyard. Thankfully we didn't see any, but it now looks a million times better because we have given it a full degrease and a full clean. I'm going to leave the car to get warm, let the engine to get up to temperature, and then we'll make a start. Right, so here we go, underneath the car. We need to get the sump plug out. I've got a 19, so that's our... So we're just about to drain the oil, and there's actually a tool here. So just draining the oil, I've grabbed the other camera. This torch is actually underneath, it was in this part here of the car. Let's have a look at it. That's funny, that. So we found this underneath the car. It doesn't turn on, but let's put it on charge and see what happens. Right, so it's on charge, it is flashing. We'll let it charge and we'll see if it works. It's a good find, that. Oh, what a catch. There we go. It's filthy, that, innit? Yeah. That's absolutely minging. Next job, we need to take the air filter out and expose. That should now come off. And the air filter is in there. We'll get onto the air filter though, we'll do the spark plugs next. Clearly a new one, you can see the difference. Someone's put a one coil pack in at some point. Spark plugs that will do, but I don't want to mix them up, so if I take one out, put it up there. Boom! So, to do a quick comparison on this first spark plug, you can see that's our dirty one and our new one. Definitely due to be changed. So, let's get the rest of them out and the rest of them back in. Right, so we've just changed the spark plugs, and me and Reese is the helper today. We think this car might have been mapped because it sounds a bit fruity when you start it up. It sounds like it's got like a bit of an overrun, but it's got in it. The spark plugs we took out, I don't know if you're gonna, NGKR spark plugs. These are obviously clearly performance spark plugs, I'm guessing. They look like they've worn fairly well, but we've done it. It's a positive thing that we've done it, I think, for when we resell it. Next, we need to do the air filter. So the air filter is built into the engine cover on these. So what we're going to do. I bet that's just the heat shield that I took off. You know?
You're probably right. From looking through those holes, it doesn't look like the air filter looks bad.
No, it don't, does it? I thought that. That lifts up. What a fucking way to over engineer something that is. Look at that brand new filter we're changing. It's literally brand new. It actually is literally a brand new filter. Sometimes they have a date on them. Oh yeah. Blueprint Advance. It says 23 on it. It's literally a brand new filter. But hey oh, we're here, aren't we? So air filter is changed. We're going to stick the engine cover back on and the air box back on the car. Then we'll get the oil filter out. Once the oil filter's out, new oil filter in, top the engine up with oil. I think that's it then, is it? Oh no, we've got the cabin filter to do. Next is the oil filter.
Got an extension there.
No, I've got it, I want it. I'm going to get oil all over me. Told you, didn't I? Next job is our nice new oil filter. This is the one took off. As you can see, it's a little bit worse for wear, to be fair. It's not like the air filter. Bin. So our nice new oil filter is here. We've got a Febby Bilstein, and we've also got some new seals. So I need to unpick the old seal out of this one, out of this housing, and put the new seal in. Last job then is installing our nice new oil filter. New sealing, give this a wipe down. I've wiped down the underneath of the engine and I've also put the subfloor back in. I'll wipe this down and then we'll get it back on the car. We are ready for oil. We are ready for oil. So I've gone for some Miller's Oil C3. It's for Volkswagen's, fully synthetic 5W30. This is what was recommended by pretty much everywhere I've read. There it goes. Right, so we put the oil in. I'm going to fire it up. It'll lose a little bit of oil because it needs to fill up the air filter housing. But we'll fire it up, let it fill up the oil. Turn that off. Let it fire up, fill up the oil filter housing. We'll check it again. Fucking battery's dead. Right, so nightmare. The battery's died. So while the battery charges, we're going to change the cabin filter. So it's on the passenger side underneath the glove box. Underneath it now. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is minging. I don't know when the last time that was changed, but it definitely needed doing. That's disgusting. So a close up of this filter then. The cabin filter, look at this. Definitely needed doing. There's a stamp on the side that says 2011. So this filter's 13 years old and it's definitely seen better days. Bit of a comparison then, old, new. Let's get this new one back in and get the dashboard back together. Cabin filter done, as you've just seen, not been replaced for 13 years, was absolutely disgusting, so worth the replacement. We're almost there with the TT, just need to wait for the battery to charge. Please start. Yeah! And that is the end of today's video. The battery's about to die on the camera, so I'll have to be quick. Change the spark plugs, pollen filter, air filter, oil and oil filter. Car is jump to the GoPro to finish it. So as I was saying then, we've changed the oil filter, oil, air filter, pollen filter and the spark plug on the car. We found a couple more jobs that we need to do. Alternator belt probably needs to be replaced. Also, I've noticed under the car, the driver's side CV boot is split, so that's an MOT failure. That's something we need to do. So 2 more jobs that we've picked up on. Not major things, but nonetheless we need to get them done ready for its MOT. Ordering some tyres tonight, so we'll get some tyres on it as well. So remember for watching, make sure you comment down below what you think so far, like, and make sure you hit that subscribe button. See you on the next one. What's happening YouTube? Welcome back. Now parts have been arriving thick and fast over the last few days for Project TT, some of which are clearly behind me. And we are going to be doing some work today, but we're not fitting the tyres. We have got another job in hand, but before we get to that job, there's 2 questions I want to try and answer for you. Now, if you've watched the previous video, you'll know that I found this lamp stashed in the bump pot when I serviced the car. And what I want to do is, well, let's see if it works. So here goes. And it does, look at that, look at that. We have got ourselves, Hot Wheels wall, we have got ourselves a new working LED lamp. Now if you don't know what Project TT is, Project TT is a Mark II Audi TT that I bought from a scrapyard that I've been fixing up to try and get back on the road. And in a recent video where I revealed everything that's wrong with this TT, one of the things that was wrong was that the ignition, the keys, does not unlock the car, but the little LED does not flash. And I said in the video I was hopeful that it was just as simple as a battery. So we're going to start this video by changing the battery in the key to see if that fixes the problem. So that's the back off. Here's the old battery. I don't know how well you're going to pick this up on camera. So this battery is actually different. The one that I've got for the car is a CR2032 and the one that's coming out is a CR2016. So maybe it's not worked, not because the battery's dead, but because it's completely the wrong battery. So if we put that in there, you probably just heard that, but here goes. Now, you probably just heard it because it's got an audible tone, but if I press the unlock button, the door unlocks. And if I press the lock button, the door locked. So that's a positive start to this video. We have got a working lamp that we found free underneath the car, and we've also got a key that now unlocks this car. But let's get on with the rest of the video. Now that was a great start to the video, so hopefully we can continue with some positivity in this video. Because what we're doing is, for those that don't know, this Mark II Audi TT come from factory with the 6-speed DSG gearbox, and we're going to be giving it a full service. Now I've only ever changed the gearbox oil once in my own Mark II Focus ST, which was a straightforward change because it was a drain and a refill. It took about 2 litres, 1.7 to 2 litres of oil. This, however, is slightly different because these DSG gearboxes come with a filter. So what we have got is a filter, which is a Febby-Bilstein filter. I've then got 6 litres of Febby-Bilstein gear oil. I've got 6 litres of this. I believe these take around 4 to 5 litres. I've also got a nice new sump plug. We've got a full service kit for this gearbox. So we're gonna have a look over the car first and see where I can see the filter is and see where the drain plug is before I start attempting to drain the oil and change the filter. Because as I said, I've never serviced a DSG gearbox before, and I've never serviced an automatic before. So that's the plan. Let's get to it. So using our lamp that we found under the car, you can see here just on top, this is the oil filter housing for the filter on the gearbox. That's nice and accessible, so that's quite an easy, straightforward thing to change by the looks of it. So we'll get the car in the air, we'll get underneath, and we'll see if we can see the drain plug. Right, so let's have a look underneath the car then. So this is our gearbox side here. Again, we're using our lamp that we found, and it looks like to me the drain plug is located just there, which is an Allen key bolt, which again doesn't look too inaccessible. So I think there is only one thing for it, and that one thing is, let's see if we can drain this fluid. So I'll get a mat and I'll get a bucket as well. Right, so I've got an Allen key big enough. It's quite a big Allen key, but as you can see, I'm not going to get the leverage on the Allen key, so I'm going to try and put a spanner on, which will kind of act as the lever, I hope. Oh, I think we just cracked it. Yeah, so it's now free. So if I undo it, we should begin to see some gearbox oil. That actually looks quite clean. I don't know how well the GoPro picked it up. I'll grab the other camera. This will probably pick it up a bit better. That actually looks really, really clear. So maybe it's had a change recently before I bought the car, but we're draining it out, we're here, we might as well crack on and finish it off. So this appears to be a second drain. I don't know if you can see in there, the black bit appears to be like a second drain plug. So I think I need another Allen key to get that out as well. But you can see the oil actually didn't look too bad. It didn't look like it needed changing, but we're in now, the drain plug's off, let's get it changed. So I've got another Allen key. This one doesn't appear to be as tight as the exterior one. You'll probably see it better now as it comes out. There is like a, yeah, here we go, look. Yeah, so clearly this is like a second drain plug. You can see it's all coming out. That's quite annoying to be fair, but there you go. It's now all making its way out. Oh, it's only gone and dropped it. Yeah, so that's what it was. Right, so what I think this is like an overflow type dipstick. I'll show it you better on the other camera. I'll get a cloth because we clearly need that. Now it's flying out in it. The gearbox oil's flying out. Moved up to the top of the engine. We'll see if we can get this filter housing. So the filter housing is located here. Should be able to see that. Located here. It's a 24mm, so I've got 24mm. That wasn't tight at all, which is good. There we go, so that's the cap. The cap comes off, the filter has actually stayed in place. And that, is the filter. I'll see if we can find a stamp on this, because like I say, the actual oil doesn't look too bad. Right, so we're on with this. I've got the filter out and I've got the oil out, and I can't see a date on the filter, but the oil didn't look too bad. Now what we need to do is insert this back. So I'll insert this back in, I'll screw it up, and then there's two ways I can then fill the gearbox. I can put a tube on the whole of this and screw it in, or the longer way is I can fill it through the gearbox filter housing, and that's what I'm going to do. So we're underneath. What I want to do, I'll clean my Allen key off. The gearbox oil's now all out. Just give this a wipe. I don't want to over tighten this. Just going to put it in till it's kind of where it stops turning. With it being plastic, I don't want to over tighten it. And that's it, that's in. Give this a wipe. Right, that's that bit done. So I've only got this tiny pathetic funnel, if I'm honest. There's not a lot more I can say. So we're going to get filling this up. The funnel is located here. I have to pour it in. Apparently it takes a little bit of time. We've got all day. Here go. That's 1 litre down, painstakingly slow this, but 1 litre down, another 5 to go. That is now 2 litres of oil in the car. This is painstakingly slow. I've actually changed my approach. I last spoke to you. I'll show you what that is now on the GoPro, because it's set up at an angle where it can see, and I'll explain my reason why I've changed that approach. I wouldn't say it's any quicker. It's annoying, I suppose, is the easiest way to say it, but it's another litre in the car. Let's start with the third. Right, so as I said, I have changed my approach. You can see the gearbox filter housing here, where my hand is right in front of me. And I did have this little funnel slotted in the centre of it. I'd fill the funnel to the top, it would go down, but as you can see, this funnel is tiny, and that was taking a long time. So what I've been doing, that seems to be working really well, is all I'm doing is filling the housing all the way to the top, and then just allowing it to drain through the centre. This is not too much of an issue, because when the gearbox is running anyway, this effectively will fill up with oil anyway, and then we're just going to wipe down the excess around the edges before we reseal it. It's just less annoying. So let's get this topped up. That is the 3rd litre now in the car. I'll get another bottle. This is so painstakingly slow. That's 4 litres of oil now in the gearbox. Now what? Right, so that's 5 litres of oil now in the gearbox. I'm going to put another 200 ml in, which takes us to 5.2, obviously. And then I'm going to put a little bit in the filter as well. Yeah, so we're almost there with it now. It's been frustrating, to say the least. It's got even beginning to get dark up in here. Let's get the old rubber off here. Just going to get a screwdriver and so all I'm going to do is just prime the filter. I'm not going to put loads of oil in this and filter, because I've got to tip it up. I'm just going to put a little bit of oil in and give it a shake round. Let that soak into the filter on the inside. I'll put our filter on, like so. Filter housing goes wasn't tight in the first place. I'm just going to wipe off the area of this spilt oil. So all I'm going to do now is just fire the car up and click it into gear, and allow it to kind of click through the gears and circulate the oil through the gearbox. So that's what we're going to do. A bit nervous, like I said, I've never serviced a DSG box before, so here we go. What I'm going to do, foot on the brake, click it into reverse initially, foot off the brake, wheels are spinning, on the brake, into neutral, into drive, click it back into park, and I reckon we are done. That is the gearbox service done. We've put fresh oil in, fresh filter. I don't know how long this video is going to be. Quite frustrating, this video in the long run, but we'll get onto that at the end. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a time lapse of me taking the car off jack stands, putting it back down on the road, and then we'll end this video. The end of today's video. A couple of positive things that have come out of today, then let's start with the positives then. The key works, and the lamp that we found under the car in the last video also works. So they're the two positives that have come out of today. There is no kind of real negatives, if I'm honest. It's just frustrating how long it's took me to fill up this gearbox full of oil. It's took 2 hours to put 5.2 litres of oil in this gearbox. Another job ticked off the list on Project TT. If you're enjoying Project TT, make sure you press that subscribe button and comment down below. Tell me, is there an easier way of filling these gearboxes? Because who knows, I may get another DSG car in the future that'll need a gearbox service. But for now, thanks very much for watching. Make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe at the end of this video if you haven't done so already. A link to the playlist for Project TT is down below and will be on the end screen. Thanks very much for watching. I will see you on the next one. Remember, subscribe. Click here, just here now. Subscribe. Thanks. What's happening, YouTube? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are back with Project TT, and if you don't know what Project TT is, this is the Mark II Audi TT that I've bought from a scrapyard, and we've been doing many things with this TT to get it back on the road, one of which is done. We've done a full service. In the previous video we serviced the DSG gearbox, and we also installed a new battery in the key, and it now works. Wonderful. But today's jobs are two jobs that I didn't really expect to be doing, and I didn't mention in the video that I did where I reported everything that was wrong with this. When I was servicing the car, I noticed that the driver's side CV boot is split, so that's something we're going to be doing today. I've got a CV boot kit, and I've also noticed at startup the car has got a little bit of belt squeal, so we're going to be replacing the auxiliary belt. We have got a nice new auxiliary belt. This is a Gates belt. It was relatively cheap. I think it was around £9. And I've also got a CV boot kit, which has obviously got a new CV boot in, some new clips, the CV boot grease. Now, this again was relatively cheap. I think I paid around £15 for it. Now, what I will say is I have never changed a CV boot on a car ever. If you follow my previous videos and you follow my other build, which is my Mark II Focus ST, you'll know I have changed the drive shaft, but I didn't. I just removed the drive shaft and put a new one on. This I'm going to try and save the drive shaft and just replace the boot. But like I said, also we're replacing the belt, and I'm hoping this job will be the easier out of the two, and we'll probably do it at the end. It'll be the last job we do. Remove the pull the tensioner out of the way and slip the belt off and put the new one on. I'll show you the old belt that's on the car now. So this belt here is the one that we're going to be replacing. You can see there is a wear mark right down the middle of it, and it just looks a little bit sorry for itself, especially when you know you compare the new belt at the side of it. This does kind of look a little bit sorry for itself, so this is definitely a job that I think is worthwhile doing. And the CV boot is something we have to do because it won't pass its MOT with a split CV boot. So let's get to it then. Let's get the wheel off, let's get the car in the air, and let's have a look how we're going to tackle this. So as you've seen then, we've got the driver's side wheel off. If we have a quick look behind here, you can see where the CV boot has split. So I think the best plan of attack, if I'm honest, is I disconnect the drive shaft from the front of the hub, then I tackle these 3 bolts here to disconnect the wishbone, and I think just maybe we'll get enough movement in the hub and the suspension leg to pull it far enough away. So these 3 bolts are what I need to take off. I think they don't actually look too bad. I think it's had a pair of front arms on it and drop links. The drop links are definitely new. I'm not sure about the front legs, they look quite new to me. The bushes look very good. Yeah, so I think we take the hub nut off the front and we also take these 3 bolts off it. The drive shaft bolt here is a 27. Now less than ideal, I've only got a multi-spline socket that big. I think it shouldn't be too tight. It says, oh, it's going. I don't know if that's tighter or looser though. Change the angle, I put a screwdriver in here to stop the brake moving. There she is. I reckon, I see we can and there is our, it's a chunky drive shaft bolt that, to be fair, but it's there. So next to these 3 bolts, it's part of the camera being a bit of a pain in the ass, but so the 16mm, I put some WD-40 on. Ooh, they're not tight at all. Look at that, 1, 2. I'm just going to crack them off and get the buzz gun on. And that should free up the bottom arm. There we go. So the bottom arm is now free from the wishbone. So the next thing we need to do is knock the drive shaft out, which, to be fair, it already looks like it's moving. So what I'm going to do for this, I'm going to use a drive shaft bolt, a couple of threads, and I'm just going to tap it. It's coming, that. The drive shaft is now free. Look at that, we are flying. Right, what I've done to give me a little bit of better working space is I've actually disconnected the roll bar and pulled it up out of the way. Now the CV boot on this is actually split the whole way round, like it's completely split, so I'm just going to try and get this CV joint off as a whole, and then I can clean everything up once it's off the car. That's the plan anyway. Like I said, I've never done this before, so we'll see how it goes. Ease of kind of access and to know what I'm looking at. I've removed the CV boot and slid it over, and all I'm doing is I'm just using a lump on it. Boom! There she is. There is one CV joint, and that is obviously the end of our drive shaft. Now in our kit we've got new rubbers, we've got new clips, so they can come off as well. And obviously I need to take off all the old boot. Here you can see, like I say, it's split all the way around, so obviously that needs to come off as well, that clip. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clean all this up, brake cleaner, because we have got some nice new shiny CV boot grease, CV grease. The actual bearings, they feel alright, they don't feel too bad, to be completely honest with you, but we'll have a proper look in a second. So looking at this, someone's been here before, because that's actually a cable tie. That's not a proper clip. Someone has replaced it. So with the cable ties, you can see it's just snapped. Someone has been here before, clearly. That's clean. Let's clean up the CV joint, sorry. Right, so let's have a bit of an update. You've seen then what I've done is I've now got the CV joint off, which is here. Someone had clearly been in there before, because the inner part of the CV joint, the inner part of the boot was held on by a zip tie. Maybe the clip had slapped and they just fused that, I don't know. The actual, they don't feel to be much play within the joint and the bearings on this, so that's good. This is all our old, obviously, bits of boot that'll be going in the bin. I think our next job is I'm going to clean all this old grease up, because we're putting new grease in. I want to get as much as the old grease out as I can, really. That's the idea anyway. So let's get some brake cleaner. Let's make a coffee as well while we're at it. So let's start a debate in the comment section then, as I'm making my coffee. What do you put in first, the hot water or the milk? Clearly, you just saw me, I put the milk in. What do you do? So I'm enjoying a quick coffee break and having 5 minutes. You know what I'm going to ask you to do? That's right, make sure you go down, press that subscribe button. I've really enjoyed making videos over the last kind of couple of weeks with this Project TT. I'd love, obviously, to move this on, make a bit of cash and move it on to something else and buy another car to do up. So I can't do that without your support, so please make sure you press that subscribe button. Right, let's get this CV joint cleaned up. So while I had my coffee and we got another car dropped off, don't ask, I've actually had this soaking in some brake cleaner. So I'm going to get it nice and clean. Obviously it's not going to get perfectly clean, but we can get as much of the old grease out as we can. So the reason that I'm doing this then has been, if the CV boot's been split, all the dirt and the grime and the grit of the roll will be stuck in the bearing, which is not going to help the bearing at all. So by cleaning up the bearing like I am doing, it'll give it a little bit longer lifespan. But there you go, that's as clean as I'm probably going to get it. We'll stand that up and let it dry, and we'll go and clean up the end of the drive shaft. So we've got our drive shaft. I'm just gonna give this a bit of a clean down. Right, so there is, obviously we've got a new clip. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but the old clip is there. So let's try and get that off. There we go. So that's the clip removed. Obviously we've got a new one in our kit to put on. I'm just going to clean up the end. I think we're ready to start the reassembly process. So let's get the kit together and let's get it reassembled. So first thing we need to do is the reverse. So we need to get this clip on. Right, one of the hardest things we've ever had to do is get that clip on. So what I'm going to do now is we're just going to get the dry shaft seated back in position. Like so. Put the dry shaft bolt back in. I'm going to go and change this belt. So this, yeah, that slips up and slots out of the way. Pull it down. I should and lock the tensioner in place, which should allow me our new one. Seat it on the alternator. So that's now seated in place correctly. So if I get the 17mm spanner again and slip out that, as I lower the tensioner back, we should be good. So that is our new belt. Slip our breather casing back in, and that is the belt, the new belt on the car. Right, so we've pressed on, so the belt's on, the new CV boot's on, we've got the grease in, all the clips are on. The last thing we need to do now is get the wheel back on and get the car on the ground. And this is the last mechanical work, I think, touch wood, that I feel I need to do on the car. It's been quite hard. That clip was horrendous, that outside clip, but we've got it on. Yeah, so I'm going to put the under tray back on as well, because hopefully I should not need to do any more mechanical work on this Audi TT. Put the under tray back on, then once the under tray's back on, I'll do a time lapse of me lowering the car down. So with this one, we're ending the video with the bonnet down, and the reason for that is because I feel like, and touch wood, all the mechanical stuff that I've had to do to this car is now done. We've done a full service, we've serviced the gearbox, we've changed all the filters. That's why we're shutting the bonnet, because the mechanical stuff is now done. This journey's not over yet with the TT, because what we've got left to do is sorting out the interior, getting the new tyres installed, and installing the new Apple CarPlay head unit that I bought for this car. So we're not out of the woods yet, we've still got a little bit to do before we get this car ready for its MOT. I'm also waiting for the logbook to arrive, so we've still got a video or so left of work to do. So if you enjoyed this series, thanks very much so far for watching. I'll link the playlist in the description below, and it'll be appearing on the screen now just here, so make sure you click that. Also, a bit further in this corner, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and just down here is the previous video that I did on the Audi TT. Thanks very much for watching. Comment down below what you think so far, like, and remember, please just here, press that subscribe button. What's happening, YouTube? Welcome back to a brand new video. Now, firstly, I want to apologise if I sound a bit groggy. I am full of man flu, and yes, man flu is a real thing. But even though I am full of man flu, I'm braving the cold and the rain to get some work done on Project TT. And if you don't know what Project TT is, this is a Mark II Audi TT that I bought from a scrapyard. And in recent videos, I'm doing a little bit of a series of trying to get this Audi TT back on the road. So if you want to go and check out the previous videos, there's a link in the description below to the playlist. And what we've done so far is, I've done a reveal video, I did a video that was everything wrong, and we gave this engine a full service. Now if you've watched that video, I actually said that all the mechanical work was done, however, it's not. So that'll be a future video. But today's video, we're going to be tackling the interior of the car and a couple of things that are wrong with the interior of the car. The first thing is, it's disgusting in here, and it's got a very distinctive herbal smell, like I've already said, so we need to sort that out. The wing mirror is dangling off. There's loads of shit here behind me. The stereo's broke. I've got man flu. Oh, and this is going to be a long day. So I think before we even start hoovering the car out, one of the things we need to do is kind of just get all the rubbish out of it. And we're going to start by removing the stereo out of the car, because as you saw from that cinematic, it's clearly absolutely ruined. It's unrepairable, so we've got a fresh one to go in. So let's get some radio keys and let's get this old stereo out of the car. Well, I've never removed a stereo from an Audi, ever. Two gaps, I'm not sure how well you see them. There's one here and there's also one on this side. I believe you have to insert these keys somehow, and they free up. Right, so what I didn't realise after a little bit of faffing, there's a key here and a key here and a key at the bottom and on this side as well. You can see both keys. I only had two, so I had to put the top ones in and pull it away a little bit, put the bottom ones in and then pull it away. But the stereo should now, there we go, come away from the car. So in here then, tucked away, oh here we go, in the back of the stereo, this clip, if I lift this clip up, there, that's free. That's the power harness for the stereo. This should be, so that the stereo is now free and off the car. And because it has been damaged and vandalised, as you can see how bad the damage is. It's only going one place, and that one place is clearly the bin. Stereo out the car, old one's in the bin. I've got the new one in the box. We'll get that in this video. The next thing we need to do then is get the door card off and replace this broken wing mirror. Now the replacement wing mirror, I actually got a bit excited. I'd not even looked at the car properly. I saw this on eBay in colour with the right paint code and thought, I need to have it. It looks in good condition, don't look too bad. I need to have that wing mirror. I bought it, it was at a good price. I bought it, ordered it. Right, so here goes then. I need to get the door card off so we can get to the bolts behind to get the wing mirror off. I've never took a door card off a car really. We'll go around, use a trim tool to see where it connects. It's gonna go in the bin, innit? We've got a new one of them as well. Let's have a look. Is off, not too difficult. There's a Torx 25 behind the speaker grill and one in the door pocket, and then it just pulls away. Next thing we need to do is get the wing mirror off. Looking at it, we've got some Torx in here that we clearly need to undo, and then it looks like the cable is routed around here. There's a cable, but we'll try and get the old one off first, and then we'll compare it to the new one that we've got. Wing mirror is off, I'm not gonna lie. I won't lie, that was a huge pain in the ass. I'm gonna put it on the car and then explain to you how you take it off, because that'll just make it easier. That was hard work, especially when I'm fighting man flu. But here we go. Let's get this wing mirror back on the car. So this is the wing mirror back on the car. I've just mounted it on. Right, to take it off, what you have to do is this little grub screw here. You take it off, you then have to bend the wing mirror all the way around and then pop the wing mirror up. Now, that sounds dead easy, but because this wing mirror wasn't on a car, I couldn't kind of get the leverage to wiggle it free, so I had to do it, like, use a bit of WD to free it up and pull it off. I didn't film it because I was just getting frustrated because, like I said, I've got man flu. But that's back on there, it's mounted securely. I put the retaining Allen bolt back in. Boom, there we go. Wing mirror's on the car. It looks a bit dirty. It needs a polish up. That's 1.5 jobs, because the other one we've only took the stereo out of the car. Next, we're going to be getting all the rubbish out the interior of this car, and there's a lot. So I think I'm going to make a coffee before I start. Is being made, partial shelf is back in, the carpet's back in, we cleaned up the underneath as well, and we've also give this a nice good clean on the hoover. I'll get some clean on this. I just want to show you this, look at this. So this Audi TT has still got its full toolkit, all the toolkit is present and correct, everything is there. It's even got its Audi oil can, and there's actually some Castrol Magnatec oil in there, so proves it has been looked after at some point in its life. That's the back end of the car done. Let's get to the front. Something else that we need to tackle, which we'll do now, is replacing this. This is the bonnet latch, it's broken. We've got a brand new genuine Audi one, so I'm just going to quickly put the new one on. The new part is on, plastic trim's on, as you've just seen. So what we're going to do next, just install the actual lever itself. As you've seen then, new lever installed. When I pull this, the bonnet should pop up. success. New bonnet latch is installed. Although this man flu is kicking my ass, we are making progress. Boots cleaned, bonnet latch is installed. Now we need to clean the carpet of the front of the car. So let's get on with it. All we've done is hoovered it out. I think you'll agree that the interior of this TT is beginning to look a million times better. What I'm going to do next, get some leather cleaner on the seats and all the other leather that's on the inside, and obviously give everything, all the plastics, a good wipe down. So let me get the carpet cleaner and we'll go for it. Pressed on a little bit there, and I also cleaned the interior plastics, dashboard and centre console, and I use this. This is it's Chemical Guys Total Interior Cleaner Protect Dash Glass Nav, and it's like an odor and neutraliser as well. So the carpet's looking very, very good. We've cleaned all the plastics up. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to use this. This is Auto Bright Dental Leather Cleanser, and then once I've used that, I'll then use the revived leather cream to put minerals and good stuff back into the leather. So let's get these back seats done. So, not sure how well they come across on camera. They look a million times better in person. I hope it comes across on camera as well. They are still a bit damp, so I'm going to let them dry for a minute, and then I'm going to use the leather cream to just kind of put some life back into these seats. They have come up really well. They were filthy. This crack here, or pattern in the seat, was absolutely covered in shite really, but we're getting there. It's looking a hell of a lot better. Now what I'm going to do is I need to put the GoPro on charge, so I'm going to do the rest of the leather in the car off camera, and I'm also going to do the front seats off camera and then installing the stereo. So yeah, I'm going to stick the GoPro on charge, and I'll see you when the rest of the interior is clean. Right, so this has been a bit of a long day. I'm not sure how long this video is going to be, but it's been a bit of a long day just trying to get this car clean. The seats are back in, as you can see, because I'm sat in them. They look a million times better. The GoPro's charged. So what we're going to do next is install the stereo that I mentioned at the start of the video. So obviously we removed the stereo at the start of the video and we've got a nice new one. And I've gone for, yeah, you could say an eBay special. Or you probably can't see it very well. You could say it's an eBay special because it kind of is, that's where it's from, but kind of a take on the modern Audi systems looks wise, and I think it'll fit in really well. It's got all mod cons on it, so it's got Apple CarPlay and stuff like that, and I think it will make the car a little bit more kind of sellable when we come to move it on at the end of this series. So let's get to installing this stereo. Now the kit itself actually comes with a lot of wires. We've got USB, which is nice. We've got two main wiring links. So we've got this one. I was a bit worried when I opened the packet that I'm gonna have to like do some splicing. However, we also get this one as well, which seems to be everything kind of spliced together, or it looks a bit of a rat's tail. It is all spliced together with the power lead to the back of the stereo. So I'm hoping that I won't need to cut any wires and we can just kind of plug and play really. So let's get back to this and let's get it in the car. There it goes then. So there's a couple of connectors that looks like the snap slots in there, quite nice. The canvas, so I believe what that does is it kind of decodes the car, fooling it to think its original radials there, allowing power to come through this kind of area. Let's test then to see if we're getting power. So if I set the power lead, we'll plug it into the back of the stereo. We shouldn't get any audio or anything because we've only connected up the power. So we'll turn it ignition on. Decoder's not plugged into the back, so let's plug the decoder in. See if that makes a difference. So coming off the decoder then is this 2-pin cable. I can't see where it connects, but what I can see is this looks like the same, but this is connected to the opposite box that we're not using because it's not for the TT. So maybe, just maybe, if I remove this, and that is definitely the same connector, and I connect this, and then hold on, does this little cable give power to the decoder because it's connected to the power of the stereo? So if I plug this in here, like so, ignition on, no, I'm getting nothing still. Oh, Android, we're in, we've got power, so that is what it was. All I've changed there is that little pin, we've plugged it in, we're now getting power. Look at that. We'll ignore that. Android starting. So we now know the unit's getting power because there it is, it's all powered up. Look at this, very, very smart. So we know the unit's getting power, so we're going to switch the ignition off, it powers down, and then we'll carry on because we need to wire in the aerial and wire in the GPS and stuff like that. So we'll do that. Right, so I'm not going to lie, my wife's come to save me because I was struggling a little bit, so she's helped me figure it out. So the reason I was getting no sound was there's 2 cables which are for audio, and there's also an amp control cable that needs to be plugged in as well because the Audis have an inbuilt amp before the speakers, so it needs the control cable to be plugged in for enable to be worked. So I'll switch back to the GoPro, I'll explain it a little bit better, and then we'll click everything and put it in place. Connected the amp control unit. So the other one that I was on about are these 2 cables. So these 2 also need to be connected, which is audio in and out for it to work. The decoder's connected, that's connected. So we now plug it. So ignition on, seconds of power on because it's been powered off, fully disconnected. So if we go, so as you can see then, I've now clicked it back. It's a bit of a faff to get it set. It's not the most perfect fit, but I think you'll agree, it does look the part. Go in here, hit the YouTube app. There you go. We've loaded up YouTube. We've clicked the search, Spam Motors, that's us in it. There we are. If this is you watching my channel for the first time, make sure you press that subscribe button. And to see what the functionality is like, let's have a look at the reveal video of Project TT. But there we go. Project TT in the TT. I'm sure you'll agree, that is pretty cool. So there you have it then, you've just seen the final install of the stereo. It was a little bit of a faff, I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry I've been a bit groggy in this video, Anna. Like I said at the start of the video, I've massively got man flu and it's absolutely roped me off. But yeah, if you're liking Project TT, thanks very much for watching. We're well on our way, interior's back in, it's looking absolutely amazing. The red leather's actually grown on me a little bit, I won't lie. Now it's had a good clean, the red leather has actually grown on me a little bit, although I still don't think it's for me. But hey, we have still got a few things to do. I've ordered 2 more mechanical bits. I did say the mechanical parts of this car were finished, but they're not. We need to get the tyres on and then we are ready for its MOT. Once them tyres are on, we are ready for its MOT. Even the other mechanical bits, I don't think it will fail its MOT for, so I'm hopeful that we're on the right track. So if you're enjoying Project TT, thanks very much for watching. If this is the first time you've watched a Project TT episode, make sure you go back and check out the other videos. Like I said, we've done a reveal video, everything that's wrong. We've serviced the car, we've serviced the gearbox, we've changed the CV boot, we put a new auxiliary belt on. Now we've cleaned up the interior. What we need to do next is get some tyres on and get this car for an MOT. Thanks very much for watching. Make sure you press that subscribe button just there. The playlist of Project TT is just there, and here just below me is the previous episode for Project TT. Thanks very much for watching. Please press that subscribe button and I'll see you on the next one. Yes, YouTube. What's happening, YouTube? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are back with Project TT, and if you don't know what Project TT is this Mark II Audi TT that I bought from a scrapyard, and I've been trying to get it back on the road, and we've been doing a lot of trying in recent videos. We've gave the car a full service, which included oil filter, oil, spark plugs, cabin filter. We've also serviced the gearbox, where we've changed the oil and the filter. I've took the seats out and I've shampooed the interior. I've cleaned all the leather seats, and I've also installed a new stereo. So like I said then, we have been doing a lot of trying, and this is not the end of the road. Although we're not far away now, we've got some tyres sat in the garage and we need to get the wheels off and get them to a tyre bay. We have got a couple of mechanical lot jobs to do today. And one of them mechanical jobs starts right here under the bonnet, and starts here with this little bag of tricks. And this little bag of tricks, for you TT people and you VAD guys, you'll know it is a replacement cam follower. Now, it wasn't something that I expected to be doing on the car when I bought it, but the research I've done since owning the TT, and it's a common fault and something that can fail. So I think for my peace of mind and the future buyer's peace of mind, it's worth doing, and it was relatively inexpensive as well. But we'll cover the cost of the car and all the costs of Project TT in a later video. And something else we need to replace is at the back of the car, and it is this. This is a fuel filter. The reason we're doing the fuel filter then is, again, it wasn't something I anticipated in doing, but it was actually my uncle who messaged me, so nice one, Uncle Sean, to say, why have you not replaced the fuel filter? So I said, well, you've said it now, so I need to do it. So we've got one, and that's something else we'll be tackling in this video. But first, we'll tackle the cam follower beforehand. We need to get the engine cover off and kind of go from there. Something I've never done. Watched a couple of videos on it, as you do with YouTube. Doesn't seem difficult, but everything I've said so far on this TT hasn't seemed difficult, and it took me the best part of 2 hours to refill a gearbox, so who knows. So once you've got your engine cover off, which is relatively easy, the cam follower is located in here, which I believe is your high pressure fuel pump. So we need to set this cap off and drain the fuel out. You have to take this bottom line off, and then it's a case of this bolt here and this bolt here, lift it away, and that should expose the cam follower. So it doesn't sound too difficult, but nothing ever does, so let's crack on. So then this black cap needs to come off. That's safe. And then that's a valve, so I'm gonna get some blue roll, and then there you go. I love the smell of petrol in the morning. That's going to drip out a little bit, and then the next one I need to tackle is this under here. Because it's like a double bolt, I'm going to use a 17 on top to hold it in place, and then I'll crack that off, and now I should be able to undo that. So that's now disconnected. So the next thing, that's one, two, three. The high pressure fuel pump should now bit of faffing, and there it is, it's free, it's quite tight, there's a spring, and then this is our cam follower that we're going to be replacing. Yeah, so you probably saw then, I did crack the PCV valve pipe trying to get that off. So we've ordered some new pipes and we've ordered a PCV valve because I'm replacing the pipes, I might as well replace the valve as well, and it was relatively inexpensive, but the cost of this build is getting bigger because I'm breaking stuff, so, but anyway. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to compare our two cam followers, the one we took off, which is this one, and the one we're putting on, which is this one. So cam followers then, cam followers are these little pieces of metal, they sit inside the high pressure proof pump and they connect to the back of the camshaft in the engine. And what happens when they fail is this top bit here gets a fully penetrates and gets a hole in it, which then causes you to potentially need a camshaft, or at worst a top end engine rebuild. So they're definitely worth replacing. I'm not sure how many miles this one has done. It's more than likely been replaced at another time in the TT's life, and I'm not doing it any harm by replacing it. So you can see then when we look at the new one is fully black on top, whereas the one I've took off has got some wear marks when you compare them side by side. So this is the new one, this is the old one. Also when I tip them on the side, you can see the old one has got some scorch marks on the side, whereas the new one clearly doesn't. And same on the inside, although I'm not sure how well you'll see it. The old one on the inside has got a wear mark and the new one hasn't. So because this part was relatively inexpensive, and just for peace of mind, and when I come to sell the TT, I can say it's had a new cam follower, because that may be a question I get asked, and I've got proof of receipt and proof of the job being done with this video. It was worth the expense to replace this little piece of metal. All I'm going to do first, clean up the old oil. It's in there, let that soak. Our seal sits on here, so I'll get a tip. I don't want to put the new cam follower in dry, so I've just dipped it in oil to give it a light coat of oil before we slip it in the engine, so it'll be nice and coated. All I'm going to do is slip that back in there. So that is the cam follower done. The next thing we're going to move on to then, like I said, is the fuel pump. Fuel filter, sorry. So this is our fuel filter here that we need to get off of it. See, it's in its housing. There's two connectors on this side here, and there's one on this side here, and it's in a little like mount strap. It's difficult to get under here. It's in an awkward place, but it actually doesn't look too old. But I suppose that doesn't matter because we're changing it anyway. So I think what I'm going to do is disconnect the hoses before I undo it out of its mount, and I've got plenty of blue roll to try and catch as much of the petrol that's going to come out as I can. It's actually decided to start raining and I'm getting wet, but here we go. So I've got the first hose off. I was just trying to figure out how it all works, if I'm honest. So I'll show you how I did it on the next hose. So I apologise for the poor angles, there's not a lot I can do underneath the car. So what I did is I used a screwdriver to push in the clip as far as I could get it, and then I just used a pry tool to get it off like that. I've got a drain underneath. Fuel lines are off. Right, I'm fucking piss wet through, so I stopped filming that because it started absolutely lashing it down. I was underneath the car, just wanted to get it done. So you saw I got the hoses off. It was just a case of unscrewing the housing, old filter out, new filter in, and reconnecting all the hoses, and that was it. I'm absolutely piss wet through, and like I said, I just stopped filming because I didn't want the cameras to break. Right, YouTube, we're back. So it has been about 7 to 10 days since I actually picked the camera up. So touch this video. Probably come across a little bit in the last video. I was a bit frustrated because he started levering it down. I broke that hose, so that annoyed me. Well, I annoyed myself. But heyo, we're back. I'm going to change the PCV valve now. I've actually put the hose on so I can move the car around. It's fixed, obviously, the starting and the stalling problem. And then we've got one more job to do in this video, and then it's exciting times, which I'll save for the end of the video. So let's get the bonnet up, let's get this PCV valve installed. So we've got the old one off. As you can see, it looks like, I mean, I don't know, it looks like the seal might have gone on this one possibly, because oil seems to be getting past underneath. You can see it there. It's actually getting underneath the seal. It actually wasn't on that tight, so maybe it wasn't on tight enough, I'm not sure. So I think we're doing the right thing anyway, replacing this. We've got the old one, which will unbox. We'll bang the new one on. We've already got one of our new hoses on, and I'll probably leave the other hose on already because there is actually nothing wrong with it. They just came as a pair. So there you go then, as you can hear, the TT is up and running behind me, and it actually does sound a bit better. So maybe it was replacing, maybe it was worth breaking that hole so we replaced the PCV valve. It might be in my head, but it sounds a lot smoother. But hey, on to the next job. But before we jump on to the next job, I have done a couple of things off camera, and one of them things, the spoiler. The spoiler now stays down like it's meant to when the ignition's off, and that light on the button is also now gone off, so spoiler is fit. The other thing that I also done off camera is I've had 4 new tyres fitted to the car, and it was while having the wheels off the front I noticed that there is another little bit of a job that we need to do, and that other job is the brake disc. Now the brake disc on the front, the disc and pads look relatively new, but as you can see there is some surface rust on the front discs. Now when I move the car around up and down the drive, the surface rust on the back gets disturbed, but on the front it doesn't. Well, it doesn't on the front side of the disc. On the rear side of the disc it does, which says to me the calipers are okay and the pistons are moving, but the grease in the sliders on the front calipers is all dried up and needs to be re-greased. So we're going to strip down both the front brakes, re-grease everything, new copper grease while we're there, because why not, and hopefully that will fix our problem. Right, so wheel is now off. This is our disc. As you can see here, the pads look quite new and the discs don't have much of a lip on them. What I'm going to do is pop the caliper off, because I think it's just a case of the grease has dried up because it's been stood for a while. So I'll get the camera, I'll get the GoPro in here, so I won't be able to do it with this camera. We'll get a time lapse on and I'll catch up with you when I've got the caliper. So I believe my suspicions are correct, and let me show you why. If I show you this, you can see there's no evidence that these new pads, whoever's put them in, there's no evidence that they've even had copper grease on them, never mind anything else. If you look at the sliders, they've all got surface rust on them, which again means there's been no copper grease. And also that's very stiff as well. That's the slider for when you press your brake pedal. You can see in there there's all rust, there's no evidence of copper grease. But the ultimate and final test of it is if I put a set of grips on this caliper, it should go back in. So let's try that. And there you go, caliper retracted. So I'm going to grease all this back up. We're going to put general purpose grease on the sliders. I'm going to put some copper grease on the pads and the runners. Put the wheel back on, build the caliper back up, wheel back on. And I think we've cracked it. This caliper, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not seized. It's just lack of grease. That's the side all built back up, as you've just seen. Last thing I need to do is just give the pedal a very, very gentle push and pump until it goes first. Job done. So just like the other side, you can see, again, there's no evidence that these have ever been greased. Look at the rust. So, again, with the sliders there all dry. So I'm confident then, exactly the same as the other side. We strip this down, grease it all back up. We should have the we should have the brake pads evenly, wearing evenly on each side. So, let's crack on, back to a time lapse, strip this down, clean it up, get it greased, get it back together. Yeah, let's get this car back on. Everything greased up and back together. I'll get the wheel on, get the car on the floor because I can't get in the door to pump the pedal because the jack's there, and then I'll lightly pump the pedal till it goes firm. Lock off the brake fluid reservoir, bolts up, and then I'm just going to drive the car up and down the driveway just to make sure the pedal feels alright and to see if we get any disturbance on the surface rust on the front of the disc, because that's what made me suspect that there was an issue here. So that's it, we're done. I've done as much as I can to Project TT to try and get it back on the road, and in 2 days time it's the big day. Today's Friday. On Monday this car is in for its MOT. We've done a lot of work to this car. We've serviced it, we've serviced the gearbox, we've done the CV joint, I've replaced that belt, I've deep cleaned the interior, I've done a hell of a lot of work to this car, and we'll cover everything in the later video, but the next video will be MOT day. So if you're liking Project TT, make sure you press that subscribe button. There's a link in the description to the playlist of all other 6 or 7 episodes that I've done. And if you want to know if this car passes its MOT, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow me on Instagram, and also tune in to next week's video. But for now, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next
I just came to get my money right. You really wanna party, you should know that I don't want to fight. You really wanna step up, you can step up and get up tonight. If I know I'm with it whenever, okay, you know it's right.
What's happening, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Now today's video that you should be watching should be me taking Project TT for its MOT. And for me today should be me out filming my first proper drive in Project TT. However, it's all gone a bit wrong. And when I say a bit wrong, I mean a lot wrong. Let me show you what's happened. So Monday morning came around after I finished filming last week, and I said to myself, right, today is the day for its MOT. I've got brand new number plates in the garage, I've got them out ready to put on the car. I thought what I'll do is I'll fire the car up, let it warm up while I fit the number plates. I unlocked the car, I jumped in, and this is what I was greeted with. So as you can see, the car's clearly not happy. So I spent Monday checking, well, everything really. I plugged in 3 or 4 different code readers and they all were coming back with 20 to 30 faults and errors, and every time I cleared them they all came back straight away, and all of 20 to 25 codes all pretty much gave, well, the same reason, the same output, and that was that there was no signal or no communication from the ECM. Now, the ECM is the engine control module, for those that don't know, and an engine control module is just another way of saying engine control unit, an ECU. So clearly the car has got an electrical issue. I did everything I could. I checked all the fuses, I checked all the relays. I even bought a new relay, the 460 relay it's called. I put a picture on just here now. I bought a new CAN gateway, that apparently that's common for going. Nothing. The car has got electric and it will crank. If you listen, it'll crank, but it won't fire. So there you go, it cranks and it doesn't fire. I don't know. So I've done the only thing that I feel I could do, and that is I've got an auto electrician coming today to have a look at the car, because auto electrics are just not my forte. I can't figure it out for love nor money. I just can't figure it out. With it saying that it was the electrical issue with the ECU and there was no signal, what I have done is bought a second-hand ECU. So it is the ECU. Hopefully this auto electrician can diagnose and say, yeah, it's your ECU, and he can install the new one and program the new ECU to my car, because that's what needs to be done for the immobiliser and things, or so I believe, so I've read. But I want to say a massive shout out to A1 German Spares. Now if you need any TT parts, this guy is your man. He's the man for TT spares. He's got everything you need, everything. If you want to rebuild your TT from the ground up, this is the man to speak to. There'll be a link in the description below. There'll be a link to his eBay shop and his social medias down below. The guy's been an absolute hero, helping me. I've been stuck in work. Obviously I had Monday off work to set the car for its MOT, and I've been stuck in work for the last 2 days, and he's not going to be at his unit till Monday, and he'd actually took the ECU home with him and went out of his way to meet me last night when I finished work so I could collect that ECU. So a massive shout out, A1 German Spares. If you need anything TT wise, he's your man. I want to say a massive thank you to him. So that's it. I guess it's a waiting game. So if you feel sorry for me at this point watching the video, then please press that subscribe button. If you reckon you know what all them faults are, I'll put a picture here now of what the dashboard looks like when it's all lit up. If you think you know what them faults are, then please comment down below. Although hopefully by the end of this video the car will be running again. The auto electrician that's coming should have been able to fix it, but just in case, if you think you know what this fault is, then please comment down below what you think. Like this video as well, because that massively helps the algorithm for YouTube to push my videos. Yeah, and if you don't know what Project TT is, I guess tell you, Anna. So Project TT is this Mark II Audi TT that I bought from a scrapyard. Since owning the TT, I've done a hell of a lot of work to it. There's a playlist, it will be linked down below. We've serviced it, we've changed the cam follower, the PCV valve, I've stripped down and fixed up the front brakes. I put 4 new tyres on the car. I've got the spoiler to go down because that was stuck up. I've done all kinds of things to it to get it back on the road and save it from that scrapyard pile, because that's where the car was destined for. Yeah, so all we can do now is wait. I've got to wait for the auto electrician. He's due in the next half an hour to an hour. Chill out, wait, get some housework done, and when he comes, we'll let him do his thing. Then we'll ring the garage and we'll get booked in again for another MOT.
Really come to party, I just came to get my money right. You really wanna party, you should know that I don't want to fight. You really wanna step up, you can step up and get up tonight. If I know I'm with it whenever, okay, you know it's right.
What you just seen then, the auto electrician has just been, and well, it's not good news really. But firstly, before I get into what's not good news, is this auto electrician that I found online. Well, I'm not going to do his company name because that's not my style, starting beef on the internet, that's not what I'm about. But he gave me the runaround. He said he was going to turn up at 11. He got to 12:30. He still weren't here. Tried to ring him. He didn't answer the phone. I texted him and said, what's going on? Are you coming today? He said, oh, it's my fault. I had 2 Audi TTs booked in. I've got the times confused. I'll be with you for 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock came, nothing. Tried to ring him, nothing. Messaged him saying, yeah, but I'm on my way. I'm 4 miles away. That 4 miles took him another 45 minutes to do, and he turned up at about 3:45. He took the ECU off it. He tested it. He said there's nothing wrong with it, and that's pretty much all he did. He didn't do any other fault finding on the car whatsoever. He had his wife or girlfriend in the car, and he just kept saying, I won't be long, I won't be long, I won't be long, I won't be long. I just got the impression that he didn't really want to be here. He gave me the run around. Like, he was just, I don't know. That's enough as I really want to say about it. So what I've done then is I've contacted another company in my area. They said they're fully booked for 3 months and won't get out to see the car. They recommended me a company, but they are also fully booked. So what I did is the car where the garage where it was booked in with its MOT, I contacted them, I explained what had gone on. They was like, we'll have a look at it for you. So they're picking the car up tomorrow. So I started filming this video on Thursday. It's now Sunday. They're picking it up Monday while I'm at work. I'm going to leave the key in a safe place for him. And they're going to take the car, hopefully fix it and put it through its MOT. Yeah, there's a massive bump in the road. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to sort it. I can't do it myself because I haven't got the skill set or the knowledge. But yeah, hopefully the garage will be able to tell me what was wrong and where maybe possibly I've gone wrong, and hopefully future down the line we'll be able to fix these types of issues ourselves. So as you can already tell then, or already see, I've actually already installed these 4D number plates. I've just put them on. They're from roller plates. If you want some, then make sure you check them out. There'll be a link in the description below. Use discount code BAM10 to get 10% off your order. Yeah, not good news so far. Hopefully next time you'll see me, I'll be behind the driver's seat of this Mark II Audi TT that I bought from a scrapyard. So yeah, hopefully the garage can fix it and it's not a major issue. I think I need to do some explaining here, don't I? So as I said then in the last part of the video, the car was due to get picked up and go to the garage to be fault found on and hopefully be fixed and be put through its MOT. And the garage actually rang me that morning, or yesterday morning it was, to tell me that they weren't going to be able to do it today because their recovery truck was occupied on another job. And then that left me with a little bit of a dilemma on what to do. And the reason that it was a dilemma was because I'm off work today and every part of me wanted to have a look at this car and try and figure it out, but I didn't want to make the problem any worse. But well, I couldn't let the car beat me, in a nutshell. I had to come and have a look at it to see if I could figure it out. And in a nutshell, what I said to myself was the ECU, the brand new second-hand ECU that I bought, I was going to put it on the car because the auto electrician that came out last week, that came out earlier on this week. Like I said, I'm not here to slag companies off and slag people off, but he never actually tried the new ECU on the car. He just said there's nothing wrong with the original. And then from there, I then rang another auto electrician who said aftermarket stereos in this Audi platform cause massive issues with the CAN bus. And I said, well, I'm aware of that, and I've actually bought a second-hand CAN bus relay, and it makes no difference whether I put this one on the car or whether I put the original one on the car. And he said, I assure you, it'll be something, there'll be a fault in the CAN bus system on the car. So I thought to myself today that it'd be worth having a look at the CAN bus system, just on the off chance that it was. So what I started by doing was removing the Apple CarPlay head unit that I've installed, and then I began to chase wires and see where things went. And then when I looked in the fuse box on the inside of the car, the fuse box that's next to the steering wheel, on the back of it here, I was having a read of what the different fuses do, and fuse 6 is a 10 amp fuse and it powers the can, gateway and power steering. I think you know where this is going. So what I did was I removed that fuse, and like an idiot I actually dropped it. I dropped it and it actually went down the panel on the inside of the dash, and I never actually saw whether it were blown or not, but nonetheless I got another fuse. I put that other fuse in and thought, there's not a chance on this planet, like not a chance. I do not believe for 1 second that this whole problem has come from this broken fuse. I just don't believe. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. So I put the key in the ignition, I turned the ignition off. On. I turned the ignition on. And it didn't beep. It didn't beep. And straight away I looked at the dashboard and thought, no way, not a chance. There's no warning lights, it's not beeping. I turned the key to start the car and it started. And it started. I have literally lost sleep over this fault. I can't explain it to you. I've spoke to my friends, I've spoke to my uncle, I've read hours and hours and hours and hours of forum posts about faults on Audi TTs and Audis in general, and ECUs not getting power and what it could potentially be. And it was a blown fuse all along. I even now know some positive that's come out of this, I suppose. I even now know how to test relays. I've got a multimeter in the house and I now know how to test the relay because I had to do that research and start testing relays to make sure they were all right. Cars, cars. But I couldn't let this car not defeat me, not beat me, that's probably the wrong phrase, but it's not, if you understand what I'm saying. I had to figure it out. I had to figure out what was going on, what had gone wrong, and what had gone wrong was fuse 6 had blown. So the next question then, that I know that you're eager for an answer to, and I already know the answer to this question, and that question is, why then, Max, of BAM Motors YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe by the way if you've watched this far, what caused fuse 6 to blow? And there's only one answer for that. There's only one answer to that question. What caused fuse 6 to blow? What interfered with the CAN bus on this car was me. This guy. Him. Dickhead here. Knobhead. Me. I did it. It was my fault. I've caused myself the best part of 2 weeks worth of stress because I'm an idiot. That's why. Because I thought, because I installed an aftermarket stereo, and in a nutshell, because I'm not an auto electrician and because I didn't use a multimeter when I put the stereo in, I wired it in wrong. And then eventually that error on my behalf, my fault, caused that fuse to break. Me. I've caused this. I've done this. It's not the car's fault. If that's not worth a subscribe, I don't know what is. Like, genuinely, if you're one of them people that's not subscribed to my channel, I don't know what else I can do to make you subscribe to this channel. What this video should have been, like I said at the start of the video, and the start of the video was about a week ago because I've been chasing this fault for that long, was this should have been me getting in this car, dropping it off for its MOT. That's what we should be doing. But through no fault of the cars, it's 100% my fault, it's not been that video. But the next video, fingers crossed, touch wood, will be this car going for its MOT. It's booked in on Friday, today being Tuesday. It's not going to fall the way I wanted it to fall, if that makes sense. And the reason for that is because I wanted to drop it off for its MOT, hopefully it passes and I get it back and then we go on a first drive. I'm in work Friday, so I'll be dropping it off and I'll be picking it up after work, so I'll do some video with me taking it there, I suppose. And then the next time you'll join me is possibly, it won't be when we're picking it up, it'll be when we talk about whether it's passed or failed and if we need to do any more work on the car. So So thanks very much for watching. Like I said, make sure you press that subscribe button. It'd be massively appreciated. And feel like I deserve every person that's tuned into this video to press that button, because I've just fixed it and I've done it. Like, and I'm so proud of myself. I'm so happy that I managed to figure it out. So I do believe I deserve people to press that subscribe button. If you don't feel that way, don't press the button. But please, if you haven't pressed that button, make sure you check out the rest of the Project TT series. There'll be a link here now to that playlist. There'll be a link here to press subscribe, and the previous video is probably below me. Thanks very much, son. I'll see you on the next one. This car is really testing me, or I'm testing myself, depending how you want to look at it. So today's MOT day. I'm panicking here, right? I need to calm down. So today's MOT day, yeah? I've come to the car this morning, turned the ignition on, nothing. I thought, not again, not another MOT day. Took the battery off. That's the only thing I could think it could be, is that the battery was dead. I put it on charge for just an hour and thought, see if I get any life. And the car started after an hour, but I've now got some warning lights on the dash, which I think I can clear quite quickly. Let me show you now quickly. So these are our warning lights. Ignore the fuel one, obviously I can put fuel in. We've got the mag ride light, traction control, and we've got the steering light. Now I'm confident I can clear these. I go all the way to the left for 10 seconds, all the way to the right for 10 seconds, and then as I drive down the road, it should reset the system and it should clear. So we're going to try. Right, so I've done the steering wheel turning. As I now drive, I'm hopeful these lights should disappear, he says. They've gone, they've gone. I don't know if the camera put that up, but they've gone. Right, petrol station garage, let's go, let's go. Focus. Right, so I've just put fuel in, I'm on my way out. I had this idea of doing a cinematic in the car when I put fuel in. That was my plan for the video, but I couldn't even switch the car off because I'm panicking that the battery won't have enough charge. I've got nothing electrical turned on over in the car, well, apart from the stereo's on, but everything else is switched off, everything in the car, no lights, heated screen. Who knows? Let's get to the garage. Come on! Wait fast! Come on! I'm absolutely over the moon that this car's passed. It's been an absolute emotional roller coaster. I cannot believe it. Why did I ever doubt myself? Oh my God. The sense of relief that I've got that this car's passed its MOT is unbelievable. So as it turns out then, the guy that I actually use for all my MOTs, that's where I take my Focus ST, he's actually a little bit of a TT guru. And he actually said to me when I've been to pick it up, he said, without being his exact words were, I weren't being disrespectful, I got in the car, I saw the mileage and thought, this probably not going to pass on that mileage unless some money's been spent on it. He said he then got the car on the ramp and looked underneath and saw, he said his exact words, and I'm not blowing smoke because it's my car, his exact words to me were, it's one of the cleanest, most solid Gen 2 8J Audi TTs he's ever seen. I even tried to sell it and I said, look, this car's for sale if you're interested. But I did say I want to use it for a couple of weeks, and he then said he also took it on a road drive and he said it drives absolutely perfect. He says the car is kind of faultless really, which is great news. That is fantastic news. It is great news for us and I'm absolutely over the moon. So I'm going to go for a bit of a drive in a minute. I'm going to change the GoPro, I'm going to put it on this window so it's pointing forward. Not going to go far, but yeah, Audi TT, Project TT, completed it, mate. So as I said then, Project TT, we've completed it, mate. I just want to share it here. This is the TT behind me. Just on the other side of this wall is the scrapyard, that's right. Just in there is the scrapyard that I bought this car from not 8 weeks ago. 19th of February, this car turned up on my drive. Today is the 18th of April. 2 months, boom. Hashtag completed it, mate. I'm going to take the car on a bit of a drive now. I'm going to jump in. I need to tax it, to be fair, it's not taxed. So I'm going to tax the car, take it on a bit of a drive. And I do need to do a bit of a longer drive, like congratulate ourselves, pat on the back, we've completed it, it's passed its MOT, but we also need to get out for this car and take it for a first drive and experience this 2 litre TFSI with a 6-speed DSG, because people rave about, and VAG people rave about this platform. So the sense of relief's unbelievable. Let's text the car, let's go for a quick spin down the road. Alright then, so I've nipped home, I'm just on a bit of a drive. You know what, this car, like, I'm not just saying it, it's lovely. It's genuinely really lovely to drive. It feels really tight, it feels really together, like the steering's really responsive. I've not put the suspension in sport mode yet, and I've not hit any country roads. I'm saving the country roads for the first drive that we're going to go out and do together, but genuinely the car feels so tight and so together. I'm really impressed. I've not tested the cruise control because that's something else I need to check, make sure it's working. I've just kind of used these roads like this, if I'm honest. Whew, little bit of a DSG fart then. Never thought a DSG fart would make me smile anyway, I'll tell you that. Being a Ford man. Shift down. Nice big sweeper. Let's see if we can stretch his leg. Let's go. I'll tell you something, she's not shy. Woo! She's not shy. And the cruise control also works. We're in. This car is belting. Really well. It feels so together and so tight, it's unbelievable. Like, I'm really impressed with this car. Went down and we just truck it in, nothing coming, quick glance, nothing coming. Racing line through the roundabout. When we get it out, I'll get it out, and I'll also try the to see what the mag ride's like. This is just kind of, you know, I'm getting used to the car. I've only just got it through its MOT today. So there you go. It's actually a few days later. I filmed the last segment on Friday and it's now Monday. I've just been out, done a bit of a weekly shop. I'm actually out in the TT, enjoying life in the TT. As to be expected with these types of things, a few niggles have raised their head, to say the least, really. Nothing major, touch wood, as of yet. One of the niggles I found while looking for another niggle. The other niggle, so there's 3 in total. So one of them I was looking for and found something else, and the third one was obvious from the get-go, really. The first one then got a bit of a rattle or a knock. Well, I thought it was a knock. I thought it was a bit of a rattle, and it, you know, I've done the CV joint. I've had the wishbone off the front of the car, and I've had the drop link out. So I thought, you know what, easiest thing to do. Let's just make sure this is not like the fuse situation, and let's go and just recheck our work, and everything seemed tight. But while I was there, the metal clip that you put around on the CV boot had actually slipped off. I'd obviously not put it on tight enough, and it had slipped off. A little bit of CV grease had leaked out, not a lot, but a little bit had. I jacked the car up and I just refitted it, cleaned all the grease that had slipped out. I had a little bit left, so I put a little bit more back into the joint. I refitted the metal clip, and touch wood, it seems to be all right. And then I carried on looking for the niggle and the knock. Now on the back of these cars, they actually have like 2 plastic undertrays that sit just in front of the rear wheels, and they cover like the suspension, like the wishbone where it meets the car, and the drop link. And on the driver's side, it's actually zip tied on. Not something I've done, obviously something that's happened in previous. Like I said, the car's got 4 new drop links, so maybe when they've took that plastic car off, they broke a grip, and it's just, that's the rattle that I think when I tap it underneath the car when I'm not moving, it does sound very, very similar to the noise that I'm hearing when I'm driving the car. And the last niggle that we picked up then is the car doesn't get up to operating temperature. So at first I thought it might have been a temperature sender, which it possibly could be. But when I've done a little bit of research, what's come to light is that when the thermostats fail, they fail open, which means that the car isn't allowed to warm up. It's constantly getting cooled, and it doesn't get warm up to the, like, its optimum operating temperature. I've ordered a thermostat housing with a new thermostat, so the thermostat and the housing all come together. It weren't too expensive. I've ordered some new coolant as well, so hopefully we can get that issue rectified and get this rattle rectified in the next video. Touch wood, so far they're the only niggles that we've got, and honestly I'm really impressed with the car. I really am. I think I've done okay. I was expecting to find something once I got the car on the road, and hopefully the thermostat that I've ordered doesn't take too long to come, and that's something else we can get rectified, and then we can get the car out on a bit of a more spirited drive, shall we say. Just going to pull over here somewhere, see if we can end the video around here. So if you've enjoyed this video, thanks very much for watching. Make sure you check out the rest of Project TT videos if you haven't already. I've took this car from a scrapyard and got it back on the road with a full clean bill of health, with an MOT with no advisories. I'm really happy with myself, really proud. So remember, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks very much for watching. Bloody rattles. What's happening, YouTube? Welcome back to another video, and today's video is on Project TT, but this might be one of the last times this car features on my channel. And if you don't know what Project TT is, this is a Mark II Audi TT that I bought from a scrapyard. That's right, I got this car from a scrapyard, and I've been restoring it, resurrecting it, saving it from that scrapyard pile. And in the last video that if you've not seen, please go and check it out. There is a link in the descriptions below to the playlist of everything we've done to this car. I actually got it back on the road. It passed its MOT without a single advisory, not one. And since then I have been using the car on occasions, and I've used it as like a bit of a daily driver to get it on as a commute, to see if there's any other niggles with the car. And I can report that there is, well, there's a few, 2 of which I fixed off camera, but 1 we're going to be doing today. And this one is, we are changing the thermostat. Now, the temperature gauge, this car does not get up to operating temperature. It sits around the quarter mark while you're driving. When you stand still in traffic, it goes to the 90 and sits there perfectly, and then as you start moving and air starts passing through into the engine, into the radiator, it then drops down to around a quarter. And the research I've done suggests that the thermostat is stuck open. So today we are going to be changing the thermostat on this car. Now my TT has the 2 litre TFSI engine, and from the research I've done, the thermostat is located just here, like kind of down by the side of the dipstick, and it is behind the alternator. So we're clearly going to have to get the alternator off. The engine cover is going to have to come off. So yeah, I suggest what we do is, I'm going to finish my coffee I've started drinking, and then we're going to crack on. So the reason that we're at the boot of the car first is because if I'm taking the alternator off the car, I need to make sure I don't get electrocuted basically. So I'm going to disconnect the battery. The battery on these TTs is located in the boot under the car. There it is. So nice and easy then, dead simple. All I'm going to do, take the negative off and just tuck it down the back of the battery, and that's it. So that's all I've done. Negative terminal off, tucked it down there so it can't reconnect, and then just going to use this microfiber so that when I shut the boot, it doesn't let me out. And we don't have the escapade that I had when I first picked this car up or it got dropped off at my house. Make sure you check out the reveal video if you don't know what I'm on about. So what I've just done then off camera is I've took the under tray off the car. I didn't film it because, well, it's only taking an under tray off, innit? So I didn't film that bit. The next, we're going to drain the coolant system. Right, so the light's not the best, but here we go. So I'm on the driver's side of the car. I think this is a boost pipe, and I think this is our radiator hose. So I'm going to disconnect this boost pipe first and tuck it out of the way, and then I'll disconnect the radiator hose, and that's how I'm going to drain the coolant, I think, is the way we're going to do it. Right, so getting that pipe off of the radiator to drain the coolant was a bit of a pain in the ass, but we've got it done. Took the coolant cap off. I think all the coolant's now out of the system. And then for anybody asking or wondering, coolant doesn't taste very nice. So the next thing we need to do then is get this alternator off. So yeah, I'm going to make something to eat. I've not had anything to eat. It's like 11 o'clock. I'm cracking on with this, but whew, I'm losing patience because I'm so hungry. So I'm going to make some toast, I think, and then we'll crack on. Alternator is out. Wow. If you're tackling this yourself and you think it'll take you an hour, let me tell you, you're wrong. I've got the thermostat off the car. I've done time lapses to try and figure that out. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I've got the old thermostat here. Let me explain to you how I've done it. So this is the old thermostat. This is the part that connects to the engine block. Yeah, so it sits on the engine block like so. The 10mm bolt at the top, the 10mm bolt at the bottom. Then you've got a push clip hose at the bottom. You've got a hose here that's held in by a Torx bit, and you've got a rubber hose here that goes into a metal one. Now that rubber hose here, I fully removed it from the car, so that connects onto there like so, and that runs across the engine. There's an M5 spline bolt connected there, and it connects to a T-junction on this side. I took that hose off first, took it off from the other side, and I slid that fully out the car to give me some more space to work. I then undone this bolt here, and then popped this one out. It's a metal bracket with an O-ring. That then got in the way, effectively. There's another M5 spline that I've undone, but effectively that got in the way. Pulled the clip off that one, and I basically had to move the metal bracket here, the metal hose here, to try and pull it to the side so I could get it up and out, and then that one just pops off once you've got the clip off. I'll explain it more in a minute when we have a look at the car, but it took me that long to get this off. I'm having a minute. Right, let's have a go at getting this new one. The new one is here. Let's get it on the car. is up there with a very, very difficult job. I proper pressed on. Don't know how much I've actually filmed, probably not a lot. This should probably be a really short video if I upload it. But let me show you. So here we go then. Everything is back on, tensioner, alternator. I've connected all the pipes up. I'm now gonna rest the engine cover on the car, reconnect the battery, put some coolant in and fire it up. So, whew, this has been a day, this, a tricky job this. Not for the faint-hearted. I'm going to fill this up. Obviously when I fire it up I'll have to bleed the system. Coolant going in. I've left the under tray off as well so I can listen for leaks. I'm just going to back up. It's bubbling away there and the engine's not even running. You can see it is bubbling. Right, I'm going to go for a start up. You can see it's already sucked a load of it through, so let's top it up, let the car get up to temperature. So as you can probably hear then, the car is running behind me, it's sucking the coolant through nicely. I'm going to allow obviously the car to get up to temperature for it to bleed the system, then I'll turn the heaters on in the car to bleed the heater matrix as well. So for now, I think we've got probably about a 20 to 30 minute wait while the car gets up to temperature. While that's doing that, I'm going to go and wash my hands because that was a filthy job, and I'm going to go and have a bit of a tidy up. So I'll catch back with you when the car's up to temperature. So the car's up to operating temperature. As you can see, the heaters are blowing warm in the car, which is a good sign. Coolant level sitting steady. I put the cap back on. So the system should now pressurise and we'll see if it overheats. I'm going to leave it running for a little bit longer. So here we go then. I've had the car running, although it is switched off now. I've had it running for approximately probably the best part of a half an hour, if not a little bit longer, at temperature, coolant cap on, and the temperature isn't going above 90. Fans kick in and the temperature does not go above the 90 mark, which is a positive. The heat inside the heater is also nice and warm. Again, another positive. So the only true test is to take the car on a test drive to see if it stays at temperature while it's moving. I'm not going to do that today, it's very late in the day, this job has took me all day. I'm going to do a little bit of an outro tomorrow while I run an errand and stick some fuel in it. And as I said, if this is successful, this road trip tomorrow is successful, the car will be going up for sale in the next few days. It's been a journey with Project TT, but we'll save that for another video. Thanks very I'll catch you in the morning. I'm going to say thanks for watching, but I'll catch you in the morning and we'll go through if the car is okay and if it's running all right. Cut to the next day. It is the next day, so I'm just out in the TT, as you can see. I'm happy to report. So what I did last night is I actually left it running while I tidied everything away. The car was stood still on the drive, cap on the coolant for roughly around, I bet it was the best part of an hour, and it all seemed well. I've come out in the car this morning, checked the coolant, it did need topping up, so I've topped it up. I've come out in the car this morning, touch wood, with no signs of it going past the 90. And what I'm happy to report as well is, while I'm driving now, the gauge is sat perfectly at 90 degrees, whereas previously, and the reason we've done the thermostat is because it would sit at like a quarter, would that be 70, maybe around the 70 degrees mark. So yeah, I'm happy to report I seem to have fixed the problem. There's a bit of a dual carriageway now, because that's where, like on the motorway and the dual carriageway is like really where the temperature would fall on the car. So we're going to hit the dual carriageway. Just put the windows up. Sorry if the audio quality was bad then because the windows are down. But I'm going to hit the dual carriageway now, stretch its legs a little bit and see if the temperature stays at the 90 degrees where we want. The drivers, Sunday drivers. We're in a 50, this is a 50 mile-an-hour dual carriageway, and the chap in front of me is doing 37. I'm really become quite attached to this TT, if I'm honest. Obviously, I've been through a bit of an emotional roller coaster with it, but seems to be through the thick of it now. I do feel a bit sad that I'm going to be putting the car up for sale, but obviously I can't keep them all, can I? Not at such an early stage in trying to make this work. So sadly this will be going up for sale. But yeah, I hope one of you guys, you know, if you're interested in watching this video, my link to the description, my contact details in the description below. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get where I'm going to go, get some cat food because the cat's got to eat as well, and yeah, I'll find somewhere nice to end the video. So if you've enjoyed this video, thanks very much for watching. Make sure you check out the rest of Project TT videos if you haven't already. I've took this car from a scrapyard and got it back on the road with a full clean bill of health, with an MOT, with no advisories. I'm really happy with myself, really proud. So remember, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks very much.